Grievance is a feeling of discontentment, dissatisfaction in the mind of an employee which he or she thinks that injustice has been done to him or her. We all knows that if an employee is having a feeling of discontentment and dissatisfaction, they cannot give their 100% contribution to the organization. Moreover, the feeling of grievance keep piling up and it can take any form within the organization. So let's see the definition of grievance. Definition says that grievance is the feeling of discontent or dissatisfaction or suffering among the workers when workers feel that injustice has been done to them. It becomes a grievance. So it is just a feeling of dissatisfaction related to anything within the organization. It may be expressed, it may not be expressed, it may be true, it may be false, but it is the feeling that employee thinks that injustice has been done to him or her. Now we are talking about the feature. As I already told you, it is a feeling of dissatisfaction among the employee, and the feeling arises out of the employment only. And it can be related to anything: your working condition, the leadership style of the supervisor, wages, policies, or it can be because of the maladjustment of the employee himself. So it may be real or imaginary. Now let's talk about the type of grievances. Grievance can be factual. When I say factual grievance, it means that some legitimate need of an employee haven't been fulfilled within the organization. For example, an employee has put in 100%, he has worked 24/7, and when it comes to promotion, the employee is not getting promoted. Then obviously the employee will be having a feeling of discontentment or dissatisfaction. This type of grievance is known as factual grievance. Grievance can be imaginary grievance. If I say imaginary grievance, it means that the employee is having a feeling of discontentment or dissatisfaction because of some illegitimate need. He haven't put in 100% effort, he haven't worked day and night out, but he thinks that they need promotion or they need reward. Obviously that employee won't get those rewards, but if they have that feeling that something wrong has been done to them, then it leads to grievance. An organization need to resolve it. Disguised grievance. Disguised grievance occurs when the psychological need of an employee, like appraisal, applaud, or appreciation, doesn't get fulfilled. Those sort of grievances are known as disguised grievances. Now, what can be the source or causes of grievance? As I already told you, the wages and working condition can be one source of grievance. Insurance of equity within the organization, wage rates, bonus calculation, are the wages be given cash or kind, are they given on an appropriate period of time? If these things are not done, then wages can lead to grievance within the organization. Working condition. Are they having proper sitting arrangements? Are they having proper tools and equipment to handle? Or are they working in a crowded place? If these conditions are not fulfilled, then obviously this can lead to grievance within the organization. Supervision. The leadership style of the supervisor, their problem handling. If they are not apt, it can also lead to grievance. Management policies and practices. In the last lecture, we have talked about management policies. Policies are nothing that's a guideline for the working within the organization. Policies can be implied, it can be expressed. But if policies are implied, they are not in black and white, they are not in written form, it can lead to grievance and confusion within the organization. Whereas policy, when they are in a written form, it leads to transparency in the action within the organization and reduces the chances of grievances among the employees. Maladjustment of the employee. Fourth one is very important. Like you find people who are irrational in their thought, they're highly over ambitious, and they're not able to meet the requirements of the organization, and that dissatisfaction of need of the employee, because being over ambitious and being not aware of his own capability, can lead to grievance within the organization. No matter what is the cause of grievance, whether it is because of the organization or maladjustment of the employee, the organization needs to resolve the grievances. Now, what are the ways with the HR managers or the organization to identify and resolve the grievances are, I've listed just 3 points that can, apart from these 3 points, observation and exit interview can also plays an important role in the identification and resolving the grievance within the organization. First, let's talk about the grip boxes. Grip boxes are the boxes which are being kept by an organization, and any aggrieved employee as an anonymous can file his or her complaint and put into the grip boxes. The advantage of grip boxes is that identity of an employee is not revealed, but he is able to raise his grievance. An organization try and ensure the solution to those grievances. Open letter policy are the policies in which the top level executive of an organization allows every employee with a grievance and try and resolve those grievances of the employee. Open door policy is good for the small organization, but as the sizes of the organization increases, it is quite typical to have open door policy because top level executive cannot entertain everybody with the grievance. Last method is step letter process. See, in India, in the 15th Labour Conference, it was thought that we need to have a legitimate grievance handling procedure. And in the 16th Indian Labour Conference, step letter process was involved for resolution of the grievance, and it is acceptable to the union as well as management. And this is the process of step ladder process. As the name says, in the step ladder process, you have to follow the steps of the hierarchy whenever you are having a grievance, and you need to follow the hierarchy for this. So you can see from the graph, whenever an employee is having a grievance, the aggrieved employee need to go to the departmental representative. He can go himself or he can go with the representative of the trade union. And within 48 hours, the departmental representative is supposed to provide the solution to the aggrieved employee. If the aggrieved employee is satisfied with the solution, the grievance is resolved. Otherwise, he can take the grievance to departmental head. He can go alone or he can go with the representative of the trade union. 3 days are given to the departmental head to provide the appropriate solution to the grievance of the aggrieved employee. So again, if the employee is happy or satisfied with the solution of the departmental head, the grievance is resolved. Otherwise, the aggrieved employee can goes to the grievance committee. 7 days is the time period given to the grievance committee to provide the solution to the management to the grievance of the aggrieved employee, and the management has 3 more days to communicate the solution or to the aggrieved employee. If the aggrieved employee is satisfied with the solution, then grievance is resolved. Otherwise, he can go to chief executive of the organization, and the chief executive has 7 days to resolve the grievance. And if the employee is satisfied with the solution, then grievance is again resolved. Otherwise, they can go for voluntary arbitration. And the decision of the voluntary arbitration is binding on both the parties, the aggrieved employee and the management. With this, we are done with the grievance. See you in the next lecture. Thank you, students.